All right, boys, so we're officially under contract. This property is going through inspections right now. Let me show you a bit around and why the reason why I feel like I need to be acquiring as much debt as possible, just because it is obviously good that it's going to compound and build the future. So let me explain everything right while I'm showing it. So $740,000 unit. It's already 3 parts occupied. This is obviously a 2025 new build that we have going on. Yeah, we're doing an inspection on this property, and like I said, this property is under contract. But the reason why I was saying that we need to get into more debt is just because when I'm getting something like this, you want to be thinking about things in the opposite way of what the majority think. The opposite of the majority and the people that are obviously living day-to-day life is they're thinking, oh, well, debt's bad, let me stay away from it. But it's like, if the debt that you are acquiring could go on compound and pay you out monthly, is it really that bad? Like, if you're acquiring $740,000 worth of debt, right? But the property is going to be paying $6,000 a month, and you're paying down a $5,000 a month mortgage. The debt is obviously getting compounded, and it's going to get covered by the mortgage payment, which is somebody else. You're paying down that asset, and alongside that, you're in a position where with the property going down in terms of the loan amount, you're getting a higher value property, obviously, just over time, and the real estate developing. And then you're in a position where that value that you get that's paid down for someone else is something you could pull. Like, it's dead ass your money. So you don't want to be in a position where you're thinking like the majority, because a lot of people are scared of debt. But even then, like, I've used business credit to buy units that I've obviously I still hold and I still cash flow on. But the main thing that's been the needle moving activity for me is that I was in a position where I understood how to leverage 0% credit. And when I leveraged 0% credit, I was able to go and buy more units. So the reason why I'm saying that you need to go and to get into this debt, if it makes sense for you, is because it's going to allow you to move as fast as possible, right? If you're able to buy the $740,000 unit cash, by all means, do your thing. But most people are not going to be in that position. You want to get in with as least amount as possible and make the most of a return, because that debt and the appreciation is something you'll be able to buy something. And a lot of people are in positions where they still have that mindset of being old, but in reality, I look at this as like, okay, well, I'm gonna be $740,000 in debt, paper, but I'm having a 7-figure rental portfolio at 20 years old. So it's like, what is more social proof? Being in a position where I'm like, oh, I have no debt and I have 10K saved. Okay, well, would you rather have that 10K saved, which is a depreciating, currency, or be in a position where you own this value, that you have a loan against this, but it's appreciating in value? So that appreciation, that difference is your equity. That is your money that you could go and pull. You get me? So when you guys are looking at stuff like this, I would just say, for instance, we're doing like the 4 occupied, is you want to look at one, what are the main things that are going to prevent me from renting it out right away? So that's obviously the mechanicals, but that's not something you're going to look at right away. I was looking at like, okay, well, this unit's not occupied, the rest of the 3 are. What was the reason they did it? Okay, well, it's by the college, so it's in the college area. Alongside that, AC, it could get pretty hot. It's pretty hot right now. I'm fucking sweating my balls off. But if this breaks, what's the warranty on that? Alongside that, it's newer, so with it potentially breaking, you want to be in a position where if it potentially breaking, is it newer? And alongside that, what's the warranty on it? Because this could cut into your bottom line. Even if it financially won't affect you right now, you want to think 5-10 years in the advance. That's why it's like very important to what I said. You want to be thinking in terms of timelines that are way extended. And when I say that, it's not because I'm obviously saying that so then you could just fucking go and believe everything that I'm saying. I'm just saying in terms of what I personally believe. If you think it makes sense to you, then you do it. If you don't, do it. But the reason why I'm saying in terms of thinking your timelines is because, yeah, you can go make profit right off the rip because the property is completely turnkey in terms of everything else, like the inside. But what if the AC pops and then that's cutting your bottom line because it's $15,000 to replace it? There's 2 of them, so that's fucking $30,000, And then if you're making $600 a month net, that's gonna take you a very, 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 very long time to be in a position where you're netting a profit after the fact. So alongside you being in a position where you think about that, the solar, that's another expense. So it's like, okay, what is the current payment on the solar? But it's actually paid off. So it's another way of thinking. And then also, everything's completely remodeled. So that's why I really lean towards this one as opposed to the other one that we were looking at, simply because you're thinking about a time and energy allocation. Yeah, it's a financial. The other one would have made more profit in the terms of a monthly basis. But in regards to the 3 to 5 year timeline, it would have took us a lot more time and energy to actually get a return on investment, because we would have to allocate, funds to obviously do the repairs and get that a value appraised later to pull it back out. But I didn't want to do that. You either pay with time, money, or energy, and sometimes all 3. So I don't want to pay with all 3. I'd rather just go and pay with money, which is in this case with this one. And the only allocation that we'll be having in terms of time and energy is occupying this unit. And that, in my opinion, is the highest leverage activity, because in reality, you go and get first month's security deposit and then your percentage. But in terms of the overall basis of this video is, like I said, if you're able to go and leverage the money that you have to acquire debt that's going to pay you cash flow, and then that value that it gains over the span of time is something that's going to be able to contribute to your bottom line, you're going to be in a way better position than if you were going and just going and renting this out. I mean, if you were going to sitting on your money by itself, because sitting on your money by itself, it's just losing value every single day. Even if you're in a position where, it's cryptocurrency, whatever the hell. But let me see what's going on. Listing agent just pulled up. I think inspection's almost done. They're doing this one. I think this one's vacant, so they need to open it real quick. Boom, all clean, all solid. But like I said, always those 3 pillars. If I could teach anything from this page, is the 3 pillars: time, money, energy. Everything. Do not just think about financial. You will get blindsided. I believe every unit has an AC, so you have to look into that too, because if you have one AC, for example, say this unit, for example, is going, and that's another thing I was talking about, the time, energy, money allocation. If this one AC powered both units and it was in the center, you may be in a position where you get fucked, because you'll get fucked. The reason why is because say this tenant goes and blasts the AC, but this one doesn't, and then the bills come out and they're like, hey bro, like what's the deal? You're gonna be fucked, because this person's gonna be like, hey, I didn't use that much AC, and then it's a battle of who the much used it and da. But if you have 2 separate units, it's 2 separate units. It shows in the payment saying like, hey, look, it'll show, hey, look, like the person on an X unit used X amount of AC. This is their bill, so everything's separated. So you have to take account into that. But I mean, there's not really anything, but like I said, if I could give any sort of advice in that regard, is that you want to be in a position where you want to be in a position where you're focusing primarily on the 3 pillars I was talking about, and then if you could go and obviously acquire debt as fast as possible, then you'll be smooth, as long as it's the right debt and as long as the debt makes sense for you. But as long as the debt makes sense for you. But I'm really excited as a new acquisition. This unit, obviously alongside the other ones that we have that are Section 8 that are out of state, will be in a position where we're going to be having a 7-figure portfolio at 20 years old, which is really cool accomplishment, but the goal is 8 figures by 23, which I really believe is something you can hit. But also the main thing too is always look at the roof, bro. If the roof has issues, everything starts to have issues, because the rain starts pouring in, then it goes to the foundation, and then it's the big deswalada. But if you found this video, if you want more videos talking about my whole belief system on the whole, buy, borrow, die framework, where you're obviously going and paying debt as low as possible, just let me know. I'll make videos just like this, and I'll keep it cracking.